think they have some kind of food bank going on.
After we're all done drawing today, hello, welcome. So I'll be using these pens here, the Micron pen, as well as if you have it, this is all from that set that I told you guys to get. So be sure to have your pens out. We'll be doing some drawing today. You can also have a pencil out. Also from the kit. Where is it?
Color pencil, okay.
Colored pencil? That's okay. Well, I say get colored pencils okay for drawing. But I'm gonna have a pencil out too. Hello.
My friend from Taiwan.
Oh, cool. Hello. Okay.
Same? You have pencil? I don't have pencil.
We don't need to sign anywhere?
Oh,
No,
I don't
no.
have your register.
Yeah. We can. We'll get started about 5 more minutes. Okay. Okay, and I'm gonna post this up for everybody. Let's see. Yes, yes.
Take a look at this paper.
Sure.
That's the cheap one, right?
So this is hot press, so it's smooth. Yeah. So, but honestly, I love a cold press.
Oh.
Like
Like the texture?
yeah, just because you can kind of use that to your own creative whim. You can kind of.
This one said rough. What's rough? I mean, not this one. I saw when they
Yeah.
sell.
That would be cold press,
Oh.
and then maybe it's just like even more rough than usual. Yeah.
Okay.
So. Did everybody get the Pinterest link of the references?
Can you show her how to
Yeah.
open?
Yeah.
With the paper?
I'll show it with the class.
Okay.
Yeah. I have the same one. Yeah, it's just bigger. Smaller paper is better.
So I had Cypress College at my email. So they really told me today it will be possible for me to get your previous emails sometime.
Yeah. I'll write myself a note.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. Yeah, they didn't have my emails. They had my. Don't worry.
Alrighty. Okay, welcome everybody. Hope everybody has their stuff today. We'll be doing some drawing, be exploring some drawing things, of course. We have a pencil and of course our two, or one, at least one of the Micron pens. the thicker the better. So that will be nice. Yeah. Somebody had a quick question about the paper. I mean, we'll be doing some painting later on. So darn. Do I not have a knife? Guess I kind of do. Okay, cool. So if you got a pad, so any kind of watercolor pad, whether that be Arches or not, you'll see that you can't really flip open and use the next page unless you had, unless you got a travel watercolor paper or something. They sell watercolor sketchbooks and stuff that you can open, but these pads are nice because you can paint on them just as is, and it's kind of pre-stretched. And then once you're done with the painting, then you can cut it out. But then you have like a bunch of loose papers or something. So basically, you get a knife. I mean, I have this pocket knife today, but you can use literally anything. I also was using a palette knife, which is not as sharp and won't cut the paper. If you have that, use that. That worked really well when I did that with yours. That was a palette knife that I was using. So a palette knife. Oh, here. I got it. One of these boys. I didn't ask for you guys to get palette knives, but you can kind of stick it in between the paper there, and then kind of pull it across. And I always kind of angle it down a little bit, and then you can kind of do it all the way around, and that will free your paper. And again, do the same thing with a knife. I can kind of angle it down a little bit. So I'm not going to worry about that for now, but for your information. Cool. Alrighty then, let's get down to it. So today we're going to be drawing. Let's get out our pens. So I told you guys to get a nice thick pen. Yeah? Oh, it starts in the middle. So it says, you see the little arrow there? I can show you again. No, from the first paper. Here. So right there, this is the first sheet of paper.
Pink one.
Yeah. Oh, the pink one? Yeah, the same thing. Same thing. So start with this little opening. See this little arrow that says open? You bring that over, and that's,
Do you,
yeah.
do you pan it
Yeah.
first before you?
That's good.
spread it?
You're doing it right. Right. So that it's tricky. So it's like if you kind of use it, you kind of have to do a little bit of a tilt down, like kind of a turn. But it's a little tricky. It's hard to do. So it's good to kind of maybe give yourself a border when you're painting with this stuff, because I think along the sides they're never going to be quite perfect. So have that little bit of tape for that border. Yeah.
Do you pan it first?
Hey, come on in.
I'm just scared the ends are not here at all.
Okay. We're gonna draw. So if you wanted to join us drawing, you have your art stuff. All right, cool. She's from another one of my classes. That's like, oh hey, good. Okay. You guys got the news. All right, wonderful. So yeah.
Do you pan it first on the whole block?
Yeah.
Or you separate them first?
I paint them first and then I separate it.
You pan them first. The same time.
Yeah. She just has the front paper that you can toss out. You can cut that out. Yeah. Yes. So we're not even using this right now. Yes. 100% yes. So I'm not going to be using this at all, and you guys shouldn't either. I'm going to save this for a nice painting. Right now we're going to play around with our sketchbooks. So this is for sketching. Sketchbooks are the most important tool in an artist's arsenal. So sketchbooks are to be messy. Sketchbooks are to try to draw something, try to draw out ideas, memories, things that happen, fleeting moments. You can use it when you're traveling, when you're waiting on a bus, in a market. It's an invaluable tool to observe and to document and to understand the world you live in. So I love to use sketchbooks to explore the world, but also explore my own mind sometimes too. So, you can get really personal in these sketchbooks. I'm never going to really look into them, just because, I don't know, maybe you're working through something. This is a good place for you to kind of write things out, to maybe keep yourself positive or to be more real or to, whatever you're working with. Of course, in this class, I just kind of focus on kind of techniques and things like that, but feel free to use these techniques for, more personal things. I hope you guys do. So let's get going. So this is a brush pen. It's kind of similar to this one. So it's when you hold it, you can't. You oftentimes people want to hold it like this, and the issue with this is that if you're trying to draw a line going all the way across, it's going to be like kind of broken. Maybe like you're going to be resting your hand or your palm on the paper here, but I always like to kind of find some control.
Is that like a marker?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So, barely, you can put less pressure down for a really thin line, and you can hold it at an angle. In fact, you can hold it like this, like you're salting a steak or something, to get a really thick angle. Ooh, it's a little rough, but that's kind of interesting too. And then, you can kind of go at the tip, put a bit more pressure, and lift. So we'll just do some lines here. Yeah. Let's do this. I'm just gonna go ahead, put a dot on one side and a dot on the other, and in fact, I'm gonna go on the wide side here. Sorry. One dot on one side, one dot on the other, and I'm just gonna try to draw a nice straight line here. And the trick to drawing a big, nice straight line is using your whole arm. It's all in the elbow. It's all in the shoulder. And you can kind of hover that pen above your paper to kind of practice a bit and get your arm used to it, and then you can kind of let it flow. So get another dot, and I can kind of, bam, ooh, that's a good one. Very fun. So we'll just do a few of these. Now, this is a very clean straight line, very illustratorly. Well, more like technical drawing-y. As robotic as possible. Hello? But, can you guys see it okay? You just kind of zoom it in there. Alright. But let's just say we wanted to make this line a little more lively. There's a bunch of ways to draw this line. You can hold your pen up higher and kind of play around with the flow of how quick you do it. Maybe go quick and slow, and maybe add a little wiggle to it. And that line feels like it's got a lot more flavor in there. It's got a lot more life. Maybe I'll kind of add some little lively wiggles. I'll maybe twist it around or something. Or maybe I'll even break it, where I kind of do some. Sure, you can use a ruler. Now, if you were to look between a ruler, which let's just say we had a straight edge, which you can find literally anywhere. That's why I don't bring a ruler around with me, because I'm like, I'll just find a book. Bam, bam. You can see that ruler line next to my lively broken line here. And, I mean, to me, this line is a lot more lively, it's more interesting, it's got more things going on with it, and it's more human. This feels like, okay, it's the most perfect straight line in the world. So it's a machine. It is. Which, maybe that's your thing. Maybe you're trying to say something. Maybe you're trying to say, I don't know, something about minimalism and perfection, and trying to capture the meditation of getting a perfect line. Explore that, please. Feel free to. But in this class, my style, the way that I'm teaching, is kind of breaking free from that. I don't know how to say it nicely. It's you don't want to be too technical. Hello, come on in. We got a spot right over there. You should be able to. Can you guys over to the right? You guys can see it okay, or do you need me to? Okay, we're set. We're good. Now, one thing that you might notice, if you rotate the paper here, and you try to draw a line from the top to the bottom, that drawing this line is much harder to be kind of straight there. So if you're trying to get like a semi-correct straight line, you might want to rotate your paper around while you're working. Because working from right to left or left to right. Yeah. Yeah, it should be. Did I send it to you guys? Oh, I didn't send it! I'm sorry. Okay, here you go. Yeah, it's sent to the whole class. Yeah. So sorry, guys. Yeah, so the link, if you're going to be watching it, it's going to have a delay. So it might be a little awkward, so don't have the volume up if you're watching it on there. But let's just have some fun here, kind of playing around with this line. All right, so we'll just fill up, let's say, 10 unique and different lines. Have some fun. I can give you guys. Huh? Yeah. It doesn't have to be. It could be different layers. Try holding your pen differently. Just find something that speaks to you. And try to bring some of these interesting lines when we're drawing. Monday class did cancel, just due to numbers, yeah. So,
I thought they had the 5 or 6 kids that were in here that they were playing.
it wasn't enough, yeah. The class, like, needs at least, like, 25 people. So, yeah. So, luckily this class is going strong. Good to see everybody here, so.
Do you have another class or is that?
This is the only painting class now, to the public. I do have another painting class, for memory care I go to, and, a few other craft classes also for memory care. So as far as senior centers and community centers, for me, this is it. Yeah, so.
Are those classes like memory care, are they open to us or is that something, what are they like?
Yeah, so they're in special facilities, that aren't quite open for the public, but I think we do allow some people to go in. I mean, it's like a step further. Yeah, so they're usually connected to assisted living places. So.
But it's something like this, right?
No, definitely not. You're exploring lines, so yeah. Just how you draw the lines, the speed, trying to get it to the end. Yeah. So I would say the angle in which the line is drawn. So if you're drawing from top to bottom, you'll find that it's much harder to do a straight line. And also make sure that palm doesn't stick onto the paper. You need it to be lifted and you're using your whole body. It's not just your wrist. It's more than just your wrist. You got your whole body. That's why graffiti artists are such amazing. They're so amazing with their lines. Is because they're not just using their wrist when they're spray painting. They're not just using their arm. They're using their whole body. The more you can use, the more expressive those lines will be. Yeah. And you know, find those angles of the paper where you can kind of draw those lines. Maybe you want to make it crooked. See? So it just takes practice. I mean, artists will do this all the time. This is like kind of fun and meditative. If you don't know what to draw, and you're just like, you're trying to get down to it at home. You're like, I don't know what to draw. I have no ideas. Draw a bunch of lines. Simple as that. It's really nice. I always keep an eye on the end.
Yeah, they look a lot straighter. Just going across instead of up and down.
Yeah. So. Alright, I'll give you guys another minute, and then we'll get on to next little thing here. I'm going to put some stars next to some of the lines I really like. I like this one. This is really lively. I like this one. I like this one. I like the ones with a bit of shaky in them. Maybe I'll do this. Yeah, try lifting your pen as you draw that line. How do you use an eraser with a pen? Alright. Yeah. Yeah. mean, as long as you don't use them, you should be able to replace them. Okay. Alright. So, when you're drawing, it's a little different from painting, because when we did painting, right, we're thinking, what's the farthest thing, and we're trying to work our way up, right? We think about the sky, and we think about the water, and then we think about the land, then we think about the trees that are on the land, and then the person in front of the land, right? It's kind of the idea. Well, for drawing, it's kind of the opposite. For drawing, it's like you think about the thing that's the foremost object, and you work your way back. So I'm going to try to do something here. This will be, some people are already experts because you've done it before. But I'm going to go ahead and kind of use one of these lines that I kind of played around with. Please use your own. I like this wiggly one. And I'm going to go ahead and kind of add this kind of shaky and wiggly line all the way across. I'm going to do two of them, so we kind of got some bacon strips. And put them anywhere at any angle, doesn't matter. And I'm going to work from the middle, and I'm going to divide it to the middle. I'm going to divide it to the middle again and again. So split it down the middle. I'm keeping that shake on. But again, kind of work with, ooh, I like the broken line. I'm going to lift my pen once in a while. But this is just me. There we go. And see how if I split it down the middle at each point, so I did this line first, did this line second, third, fourth, and fifth. So this way of splitting things up is like the best way to split things up as far as proportions and measuring goes. To find the middle point is a whole lot easier to find the thirds or the tenths or the twelfths. And I can split this down even more if I wanted to, but that's all I'll do. Now, if I was to do a line from here and cross over and have it be underneath it, so I kind of have that wobbly line there, I would not just guess and lift my hand and put it over here. I would continue that movement in my hand, and then I would continue, lift my pen, and then I would continue it on over there. See that? So you kind of have to like guesstimate, and you can make it as thick as or as thin as you want. Maybe this one will be thinner. Adding some shake in there. But keep that consistent speed. Vroom, vroom. So if you're going fast, you can go fast. But it's kind of tough. Now I'm just going to split it up again. I like it. I like it. And I'm going to add another line over here and another line over here. But yeah, go ahead. Let's try to fit maybe, let's do 4 more lines. So you can make them skinnier and skinnier if you like. Think about variation. If you don't want to do these squiggly lines, you could make them into whatever kind of line. Yeah, this is.
You need to kind of finish the bottles,
Yeah, you could definitely put in some potholes. I like that idea actually. Wait, can we do that?
you know, like maybe just.
That sounds like fun actually. If you want to draw some cars, you can. No, we're gonna get so carried away in doing this. How many do I have? 1, 2, 3. Need to do one more. I won't stop you.
I wish shaded because some of the sitting like negative space, like dark shade.
Yeah. Yeah. Got boats. Ooh, I like it. See, whenever I don't start with the line in the middle, it kind of skews everything off. It's good you mentioned negative space. Yeah, let's play around with the negative space here. So with pens, you can do different ways of shading. So let's try. So the thing, negative space. We learned about negative space last week when we were doing clouds, right? All the blue of the sky, that's the negative space of the clouds, right? We were painting in all the space that wasn't the cloud. So we can do the same thing here. And we'll play around with different ways that we can shade things in. So there's a few ways to shade. There's actually countless ways of shading things in. I mean, if you wanted to, you could fill things in with 1,000 stick figures. I mean, it's really as countless as that, and it will kind of act as a way to make things darker. This is what I used to do in elementary school. I just fill things up with stick figures. And if I did enough of them, and close enough to each other. Yeah. So you can see it creates some sort of crazy texture there. I mean, this is so ridiculous.
Is there any way to make it a little bit larger?
Absolutely. Let's see if we can do this.
Oh, yeah.
The whole idea is that you can't see the stick figures, and that when there's so many of them, that it becomes a shade. I'm doing this in a really small square on purpose, because working like this is very tedious. Doesn't mean it's not good. It just is tedious, which is calming and relaxing and meditative. But I don't know. You do get lost in the sauce when you start sketching in things like this. But I mean, look at it from a distance, and bam, you got shadow. See? And if you did a whole bunch of them all together, or in thicker line, they'll start looking darker. See, like this little patch over here, I'm putting more pressure down, I'm getting them closer together, interlapping, overlapping, and it just looks darker here than there. You could use stars, you could use happy faces, you could use people's faces. I mean, it's really pattern. And the more things closer together, the darker it is. The less things further apart from each other, with a skinnier line, the lighter it is. . joke. All I can draw is a stick figure. Has anyone made that joke? You have? Guilty. Guilty. Well, here we are. This is your time to shine. Stick figures are necessary in art. You'd be surprised how many professional artists draw stick figures. Animators would not be able to animate without stick figures. So, that's a whole other day. So see here, I've made the stick figures more spaced out, skinnier lines, farther apart. It's much lighter than this dark area or this middle area. This way of doing it. Some people like it. I don't know who. Maybe it's you? You do? Oh.
No, I have Kristen.
Yeah.
You said here last week, are you able to send me the link or picture of the dogs you did?
Sure. Yeah. I recorded the whole video. It's on YouTube. So if you followed the link from today, I don't know if you've added this class yet. No. Okay. I'll get you added. But it's on the link of my YouTube channel. So if you've seen any of those YouTube links, that just follow my project.
I'll do it this time.
I have paperwork. Do you need to leave early?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
But I'll be back next time. What time is this over?
Yeah. Here, this has the information right here. We can do this right now.
And then I think, yeah.
Because it's a 4-hour class, it goes the whole semester. Okay, continuing on, guys. So, we got this method now. People are people. You can always do dots, too. Dear God. I'll find the smallest hole here to do dots. Now, this is called stippling. For those who love tediousness, this is your jam. Hot dog, you are in heaven. If you love tedious things, you will be stippling for ages. This is also the birth of pointillism. Yeah. Now, fun little life hack. If you had more than one pen, like 2, or 3, or 4, you could hold all of them in the same hand just to kind of double things up, or use 2 hands because it takes very little effort and focus to do it, so you can use 2 hands. It's kind of fun to do it with 2 hands here. Or if you had a tattoo gun, you could duct tape this to the tattoo gun and it'll go brrr. Basically, this is tattooing. Congratulations, guys. You are now tattoo artists. Just trade this out with a needle and you'll be good. In prison, or... You doing 2 hands? Oh, 2 pencils, there you go. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, and how you place down the dots can also change the way that the dots feel. Now, if it's pretty random, that's cool and all, but if you did dots in a row, that's also a different feeling. Let's get some zoom in on there. Wait, did somebody reply something? No. As long as you have your birthday, you should be good.
I messed up here. My first name is last, and my last name is first.
That should be fine. Yeah. Okay.
So, birthday.
Yep, just birthday, and you should be good. Alright, so you got those lines in a row. How is a different feeling than lines random? Yeah, it doesn't hurt. Anything that you know. Oh yeah, yeah. I've seen people do paintings with stippling, where they use Q-tips. They don't just use one Q-tip; they have a whole bundle of Q-tips and do everything at once. So if you're looking at pointillism, you can do that. I don't think I'll be doing too much pointillism, but some little life hacks for you. All right. Now, if you got some space up here that's way too big, I'm just gonna draw another road here, so it's not as big. Because I'm like, no, I'm good. This is good fun. Okay, and we'll just bring this up. Cool. All right, thank you. All right, yeah, I'll get that in today, actually. Okay, so let's move on to the next shading technique for this. Next is hatching. So we kind of did some line work here. This is good. But this has to do less with cutting things in half and in half and in half again to get those perfect lines. This is more about rhythm. So you can kind of draw these straight lines. And I find that if you use the same kind of straight lines throughout an entire drawing, it looks really good, even if there's like curves and stuff. But I'm just kind of drawing these straight lines here.
Which number are you working with?
This is 0.8. Now, I'm playing around with pressure. I'm putting barely any pressure. The less pressure I put, the thinner the line. If I put more pressure down, it can get really thick. And that can get darker too. You can see the difference there. This is more pressure and this is less pressure. It's important to be consistent. Whether that be consistent in your inconsistencies will work as well. So let's just say we added some of that lively, wiggly bit. You know, as long as it's consistently wiggly or consistently broken, it will work as well. It'll just give you a different texture here. So I'm going to try to break up some of these lines in these rows here. So you can see it on the screen. Oh, terrible. Actually, let's just bring the camera closer. We're doing details today, so we got to get close up. Like this. There we go. Woo! Hello. Nobody's got vertigo. Okay. Here we go. Oh, that's much better. So you can see, like, I've kind of consistently broken my line up, wiggly, consistently got a thick line, got a consistent line, thin line. You know, just know what your strength is. Maybe lines aren't for you. That's okay. You don't have to do the most perfect straight line to be a good artist. Sometimes wiggly lines, they tell more story. Sometimes broken lines with little dots here and there can tell a better story. Now, if you were wanting to make this even darker, you could either draw over those lines that you did again to make them even thicker now, which looks really good to follow those lines. So now that looks even thicker. I got some holes in there. Maybe I'll add a random little line in there. Give that a whirl. Maybe I'll hold my pen up high. or you could do what you call a crosshatch. So this is a hatch. So what do you do with a crosshatch? You cross it. So you can just throw the line right on top, and bam, it looks so much darker. It's also how plaid is made. Plaid is the most popular crosshatch. Very iconic. Well, this is more grid that I'm wearing. Make grid too, but so this is very square crosshatching. Doesn't have to be square. It can be. You can even crosshatch it again at a different angle. This time 45 degrees. This can get even darker. Hatch it at a different angle. And the more you crosshatch it, the darker it gets. Do you need help turning off the speaker? I know. I hate to be rude. Do you need help? Okay. It's okay. If you want, I can help you like turn off the speaker. You can walk out and take the call. That's fine. If you need to. Yeah. They're like, where are you? Oh dear. You're good. You're good. Right here?
Yeah.
So I crosshatched it at this angle, and then I crosshatched it at this angle, right on top of it. Yeah, so I just slowly added more down, and then this row here, did a bit more, and this row here, I did a bit more. And you see that it slowly turns from dark to light, at least lighter. Yeah. And then, of course, you get kind of a nice curve here, and you could do like patterns inside of patterns if you want. But let's just say you wanted this to be curved here. You wanted this to feel like it's got some roundness to it. You can kind of do rows, maybe crosshatch rows of this like round shade here. And heck, you could even add some extra curve in there or something. And similar thing to this, but it's just more to it. Get deeper and deeper. So it's like, yeah. This is the stuff that just really meditative, really nice. Good brainless stuff to kind of get you started. And then once you're like, okay, I'm feeling good, then you start doing some studies, or maybe you can bring this into some of your artwork, you know. Yeah. Well, yeah. So we got a few extra over here. Ooh. Oh, sorry. artist you may have learned from Maurice Sendak. Anyone heard of that guy? Yes. He is the one that did. Someone tell me. Where the Wild Things Are. Yeah. Yeah, he did a bunch of illustrated stories. Definitely an icon. But his way that he did cross hatching, I personally loved. If you take a close look, he used cross hatching like crazy. This is all kind of pen and ink work. He's probably using quills, but these Micron pens work pretty similarly. You can see here down here, a lot of like these curves. It's a lot of these are just kind of like patterns of cross hatching. Let me show you how to do it. I'll do it in this guy here. So they're kind of like big old hashtags, and some of them have curves to it, like he had some grass or something, and there's kind of like rows of curves. And you can kind of cross over them and do some of these like rows and patterns of C's, or really any letter in the alphabet. So you can kind of do these rows of like noodles or whatever. But he also does this cross hatching where they're like big old hashtags, like ridiculous hashtags. So you kind of do like a grid, and you can kind of change the curve of it. Do another grid. You can do another curve. You can do these small or big, and just kind of letting that be random kind of helps you kind of hide things, and it's really fast to fill this in. It creates a lot of motion and liveliness too. Really love the way he does shading. Yes. We'll take a break pretty soon. But yeah. This is probably one of my favorite ways to crosshatch. Yeah.
So when you doing the squares like that, or how are you doing it? Just horizontally vertical, or you do
They're kind of, sometimes they're like this, sometimes they're like that, sometimes they're like that, and they can just kind of hug whatever shapes you want. Like these are a bunch of C's all lined up to each other. I love using these C's for like kind of like cylindrical things. I mean, Maurice Sendak was using this for like grass. Maybe he was doing more like zigzags. He didn't really lift his brush as much. More like it's like curvy letter N's or M's. You can play around with size too, so when things are up close to you, really up close, you can do some zigzags. Now all these patterns here, use them, play around with them, because you can find stuff that is very like complicated and simplify them down to these little squiggles. These can be some fantastic tools to use when you're drawing with pen and ink. Yeah, Maurice Sendak is great with patterns. So because he would find pattern in the hashtags, I mean the hash marks, but also he would find patterns among the patterns. Like look at his feathers, for instance. He's got these patterns of like these. Oh, I'll show you how to do something like this too. So let's say you had scales. So you could just do these these like half circles here, or maybe half circles with 2 layers. We're going to be doing some fish today, so this is taking some time here. But let's just say I had another row of C's here, and it ends at each of these starts. And it's like, as long as you get the general idea, sometimes it's like that's like super clean. But let's try to break them up here with my wiggly wobbly lines here. Oh yeah, I can be a little bit lazier. Ooh, this is more interesting too. Those lines that we did before. I can just kind of build on to that. And again, playing around with the lines even more, I could just do a pattern of C's. Now they're fuzzy. Now we got those Marie Sendak feathers. Sometimes what I do when I'm doing these small details, but when you're very first starting in your drawing, you want to be working broadly. And when you're working broadly, you want to keep your whole arm. And then it's just like the Fibonacci, you know? You start off really broad, and then it goes deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and smaller and smaller and smaller. So that it goes with everything in art. Always start big, look big, and then work your way down smaller and smaller. That's why I'm always like, don't worry about the details. They can come in later. And that's the fun part. Well, it can be. But getting tired? Yeah, rest. Less grip. Shake your hand out. Get some blood down there. I do that sometimes. I learned that from violin. Kind of get some blood down there can help. But other than that, I mean, by not worrying about detail, you know, like this stuff here, it's fun. It's not necessary. So if you're working with color, you can just do big blocks of color. Well, yeah, this is fun. So I'm just gonna fill up the rest of these these openings here. So have some fun. And should we take a? Which one? This guy, I know. Yeah, you look like me. Yeah. I did a massive ink drawing. I need to show you guys. So this is a work that I did. And in this illustration drawing, I should have just brought this in. These all sorts of patterns, and experimented a lot with the way I use my lines, dots, angles of the lines. This one took me a couple months. But I think if I did it now, I wouldn't do it now. it took me too long, but you know, if I had more time on my hands, I could probably crank this out. At least in a couple days. I mean, this was pretty large. 11 by 17. geyer.art. I have all my artwork there, some paintings, illustrations, stuff like that.
This one's yours.
Yeah.
That's nice.
So, I mean, I don't think we'll be going to this extent. No, not anymore. But, yeah. This is almost 10 years ago. Sheesh. Yeah. Gier.
Is this the one that's spoken to the grandma? This one?
Yes. Yeah. It's a little broken on the computer, but. Mm-hmm. Yep. And yeah. Should we go take a break, guys? Feeling it? All right, let's do it. So we'll be back in about 15 minutes, let's say. If you don't feel like you need a break, feel free to draw or hang out with other people. We'll be, let's just say, 25. All right, so grab some water. Use the restroom. We'll be back at 25. Yeah. Whoa. I love it. Wow. That's really powerful. Yeah. Oh, that's wicked. Wow. Yeah, have some work. I want to see it. I'd love to see what you guys have been up to. That's okay. feel free to walk out across at any time. And just having it on the speaker will change. Yeah, yeah. But when you pick it up, feel free to just walk on out. Yeah. It's all recorded. The link has been sent to you. If you want to watch it later, feel free. Yeah. I like to have a worldly quote where I practice really trying to practice all this stuff, but like using that expressive stuff will kind of let your own style shine more. Yeah. There you go. Is that good? Yeah. Yeah. Yes. He always breaks his hashtag. Never all the way over to the whole like he did like small instead of going all the way across. He's a master for sure. I love his work. I was really inspired by it. Always kind of hugging the form, you know. See the form runs over there. Your own drawing, your own idea? Busy. Okay. Yeah, same for ours. I know, I'm sorry, it's been like Yeah. show you. So this is a little guy that I got from Amazon. I don't know if they sell it anywhere else. You can try the art stores, but it has this rubber that makes it super airtight so that none of these spill over, and it still spills over. And seeing like this there, and that I can see the visual gaps. I know that it's like when you put it in, it's just gonna. Yeah. I mean, you could use this if you were okay with the gouache drying. Yeah. When they dry, it'll act closer to watercolor. It's totally worth it. I don't know. It's just trying to get they sell them everywhere. It's all on the list. Yeah, just portable paint holder. Yeah, watercolor gouache. This does not list separate. Portable. That's why I have it. Yeah. Search up portable paint holder on Amazon. They sell the bigger ones. Probably this Rest is so good. Yeah, move your way up. Use watercolors and
Watercolor for the color and pen for the shading.
so you work pretty large. If you put it in like a metal quilt.
Just like an oak. You could
They sell it without that. I keep it separate. I mean, for my container, I have like some little flat surface. You can see this. Literally. Yeah. I kind of DIY my own little plastic container, but it's really good. All right, guys. Alrighty, guys. Okie dokie. So, very exciting seeing you guys working on your art at home and bringing it in. So excited because we're going to have an art day coming up this semester. Y'all have been so productive. It's so exciting. A lot of creative minds in here. very fun. Feel free to bring in your work. Very, very cool. So we're gonna be moving on here. Let's actually, yeah, we're gonna do some quick little rock study now. So that was a full sheet of paper there, and you kind of noticed how quickly, I mean, how long it kind of ended up taking. So for this one, I'm gonna do a square, maybe the size of my finger. So maybe like this big. So maybe 4 inches, 5 inches. So it could just be smaller, take less time, and we'll still get the idea out. That's the biggest trick, is for kind of generating ideas and playing with ideas. Work smaller. Smaller is smarter. And you can take those little small things and bring them over into your large sketchbook here. So I'm going to kind of play around with this shape here. Actually, I'm going to draw a squiggly line first. Yep. Oh, ADHD. Okay. Come on, bro. Trying to move this up here. Sorry. There you go. Ocean waves. It, like realism, or you talking? Okay. I think I'll look on the syllabus. I think we might have a day where we do kind of beach themed things. Yeah, we will. We will have a day where we do that. So, not today. So, we're gonna play around with some ovals here. Oh boy. Those of you who have taken my drawing class, you know ovals. You know cylinders. Ovals, basically, we're looking at, let's say, a cylinder like this cup here. This is a circle. To you, it may look like a line, but as I turn it, you'll see that oval start to happen, and as it gets closer and closer and closer to you, you see that perfect circle. So everything up until that point, though, it becomes an oval, line, oval. And so let's say we had a big old snake here, or maybe this is a spine of a fish, or a eel. So I'm going to go ahead and try to draw an oval here. So an oval is kind of like those lines where you kind of let it hover a bit, and we can try to follow that curve there for that oval. And then I'm just going to try to hover it and try to get it to be in the middle there. And use my whole arm for that. Oh, just make some big, maybe some small. You can kind of goof around here a bit. But, you know, that bit of hovering, using your whole hand there, I think we've kind of mastered that. Maybe I'll go a middle one over here. Cool. And we've now practiced ovals. Yes.
I'm gonna go ahead and go.
Okay.
I'll be back next week.
Alrighty. I'll see you then.
Yes, thank you.
Alright. Bye-bye. So you can kind of see, if you kind of rotate the paper a bit, you'll find different angles easier and harder. That's all old kind of news there. Now, if you wanted these to be a big old snake here, or I guess a very weirdly shaped snake, kind of connect these corners up to each other. And there we go. We got some weird cylinders there. Kind of like a snake. It's a very odd shaped snake. I can get some curves in there if it's going to be wobbly, or hard lines if it's going to be sharp. So maybe I'll go in, kind of connect these up together. Yeah. Some fun things to do. Oh yeah. Whoa, this is a dramatic turn there. Might just make a crease there. It's kind of fun. There you go. You got a nice little snake worm, whatever. I mean, if you had the ovals more of like a similar size and shape, let's just say like 2 of them, you got yourself a nice cylinder here. So it's always good to kind of start with a line and connect it up with some cylinders. And if you're going to be drawing from life, look for those cylinders in real life, or at least imagine where the cylinders are. So like if I was going to be drawing this bottle, for instance, I can see this kind of angle there, that kind of oval. I can kind of draw above it. Let's see if I can kind of do that. So I can kind of do that for one of those ovals. And up here, have it be bigger. What am I doing? I'm getting so carried away. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to teach about this another day. This is getting these things mixed up. I'm sorry, guys. Okay. But something to kind of look for. So, what we're gonna do these rocks. We're gonna do these rocks that we did in this other class, and then we'll jump into some fish, and we'll do some painting. All right, sounds good, guys. So last little thing. So just like we did with like all the squiggly things earlier on, we're gonna be doing some ovals layered on top of each other. So if you guys want to, start with those top layers of ovals and try to vary sizes and shapes. Have some be really large. Have them go outside of the frame, And whenever they intersect one oval, kind of lift your pen a bit and then lift it back down. Try to keep that fluid motion going. got an alien. Awesome. Yeah. In the other class, we drew some faces on there too. You can make some faces on there. I love it. I'm gonna play around with some proportions. Maybe I'll do little eyeballs really close to each other and a very small happy face. Maybe very large eyeballs. Yeah. I don't know, I'm just gonna goof around a bit. Anyways, not necessary, but if you like it, cool. You're free to call in there, I don't know. Okay. Okay, cool. I'm just goofing around. Alright, so, a few things about these circular objects is that they may be touching. Which means that there is contact shadows. So, what is a contact shadow? When one makes contact, there will be a contact shadow, which means no light can get into these areas because it's such a tight location, like this right in there, it gets completely black. That's not because there's a actually black line in the real world. There's no lines in the world. It just gets very, very dark. So when I'm looking at this and say it's touching, there's going to be a certain area where it gets completely black. So let's say that this was touching here, and these black areas are going to be kind of ovals, because that's kind of the shape of these objects. So wherever it's touching, well, you can always, you know that for contact shadows will always happen no matter what lighting situation. So that's like something you can kind of always do. So that's like a good place to start. So even if you don't know the lighting situation, you always know the contact shadows, and you know, and the fact that kind of wherever that contact shadow is, it does get a little bit darker around that contact shadow. And so you can use those hashtag marks to kind of test things out. So I like to do thin little lines around there to get those contact lines. And I'm just going to do these hash marks because they're fast and simple. And I'm trying to do it light and loose just around those contact shadows in there. And then there's certain areas where, you know, they're going to be touching in like little corners there. Like there's going to be no light coming in from over there. And don't be afraid to do shading right on top of those faces. I think it's pretty important to do that. But if you don't like the hash marks, you can use the dots. It's going to take you forever. But as long as you draw smaller, it's going to be easier. See, there's a face there. I'm just going to shade right on top of the face. Be fearless. Yeah, whenever something's touching. So if it's not touching, then, I mean, you don't have to worry about it, but I'm just going to kind of act like everything's touching. Okay, cool. Alrighty. Looks good. You guys need some more time? Feeling good? Yeah, it's so weird without music. Actually, let's do this. Okay, so let's choose a location that the light will be coming from. So let's just say we wanted the light coming from the left to the right. So maybe with this situation, all of this area over here is going to be dark. So if I was to look at this, so let's say the light was hitting it over here, this area here is going to be the brightest. This area over here is going to be right where the shadow starts. So no longer will the light be able to... A sphere, yeah, which is basically similar to a rock or whatever. Which maybe if it's a rock, then maybe it's going to be a bumpier rock or something. You can kind of you can kind of tell something with that, but sphere works too. And right where that line happens around, because we got just rows and rows of ovals, just like we have kind of this here. Kind of got those curves everywhere. Everything from the middle, where that light is no longer hitting, is now going to be all in shadow. And so, pretty easy to kind of just throw down a nice flat, shadowy shape in that oval. Alright, so I'm going to say the light's over here. I can kind of throw down some dots just to kind of draw down that area where I can kind of get those shadows. And even if there's a face, draw those lines right on top. So let's say I was just going to draw over this face here. You can kind of get those hash marks. They don't need to be dark. You can do them light. And look, right when I do it right on top of that face, look how good that looks. It looks so much more real. You kind of have to do that sometimes. sometimes things will be in shadow even though there's a feature or something that you see drawn. You'll have to kind of block this in. I mean, you can always do the same kind of blocking in when you're doing watercolors or painting. But I'm just going to go throw this in there. So there's a bunch of these kind of crescent looking things. I mean, that's why we see the moon as a crescent, because it's a big old circle. So just make sure you get that same kind of ratio of that crescent that you're doing there. And this happens with anything like organic looking like an egg, or maybe a human's head, or tomatoes, anything, everything. Cool. Looks good. Now, if I wanted to, just like we did before, we can like even push. Maybe there's going to be some like darker areas or something. We could kind of get some like stippling in this lighter area. If we want to add some of that kind of stippling business and just kind of get it closer to that brightest point there. I think it's pretty good. Another thing is to know where that shadow is going to go. So let's say if it was on a flat area, look like an oval. That shadow would look like an oval on a flat area. But if it was on a curved area, that would, and see, I kind of can draw a line here onto that curved area. And so that shadow is going to be kind of curved there too. And so you can think about the same thing happening here if you want. So all that shadow there, and it's going to be kind of curving over underneath these guys here. So there's a curve over here, curve over here, curve over here, all coming from this big guy. And the more you draw from real life, the more you'll understand this and see it in real life. So it's okay if you don't quite understand, but good to kind of pay attention to it. I mean, a lot of these contact shadows already have everything we're looking for, so yeah. And maybe I'll just kind of scribble in the dark areas. Because if this is a big pile of pebbles, there's going to be no light getting in over here. This is going to be kind of sharp, dark, kind of lie about it. Scribbly, scribbly, scribbly. A lot of life in there. I can always be yeah. I'm having too much fun here. Yeah, I mean, these big flat areas like the save you a lot more time. Just blocking things out with big broad brush. So that's why you see people when they're drawing for painting, they don't necessarily do all this stuff. But they can. And you can. Ray Sendak did. So just kind of things to play around with. It takes much longer. And if you're like in a rush or trying to work quickly, you know, you might want to save those big areas for painting. Okay. Should we paint a fish? Let's do it. So I should have sent everybody earlier this week. Am I going too quick? Do we need more time? More time? Okie dokie. So I sent everybody this Pinterest board, which today's theme is fish. So, huh?
You did?
I think so. Nobody did? Okay. I'll send it. Sorry. Is it only... Okay. I'll send it over. We're gonna do these little sardines. I like these little sardines. Actually, no. Ooh, this is even better. Let's do this. Cool. It automatically updates, so anytime I'm like, that's the one. Yes. That looks good. Alright, so we can get out our painting material. Now, I have a bunch of reference. If people want to go above and beyond past this, they want to do more of a scene. Let's see, wait, hold on. Sure. We'll be doing both. So we're gonna draw it out first, and then we'll be painting. So this is the picture I'm choosing to go with. Now the link that I sent you guys has a bunch of stuff that I've saved and wanted to paint and draw. I did this with the last class. Wait, is this not saved? In the Monday class, there's one person from the Monday class, where we drew this all together. But today we'll be painting, so I'm feeling the sardines. I don't know. This does have some really pretty colors. About like an hour, so I'm feeling sardines. It's probably a good idea. So we're doing these 3 sardines that are all close together. Wait. half of this massive sheet. If you're doing a really massive sheet here, I'm doing maybe 5.5 by 8. Yeah. Yeah. And think about that layering, which one are you going to draw first? Which one are you going to go from? Now, huh? Yeah. Now, I'm going to push you guys to do continuous line for this painting. Yeah, no eraser, just pen. Yes. Yes. No. It's too easy. It's too fun. Yes. And let's see. Oh shit. Okay, I was trying. I know my hair's too long. Okay. Yep. I do actually have some Jewish in me. All I need is one. Well, up to you guys. You guys want to have some fun with this one? Just let you guys kind of have free time, or you want me to kind of walk you through what I'm doing? Okay, I'll walk through. Feel free to have some fun with this piece. I gave you a whole bunch of references. If this one doesn't speak to you, choose one of the other ones. I'm gonna go ahead right down the middle and show you guys kind of. This is the. Yeah, I'm just gonna do like a half page here. So, kind of measure it a bit. Measure it. Okay, so maybe up here. I'm gonna say here. Okay. I'm gonna draw and then I'm gonna paint. So yeah. Okay. Okay. I'm just so just because it's on the half. It's on the same paper. Yeah. Oh, it's so crooked. Alright. This is where I'm like, I should just have a ruler. Alright. Feeling good about this. Alright. Color? We're doing color right now. I have my paint out and everything. Yeah. We're gonna do pen first and then we're gonna paint right on top. Yeah. So I'm actually gonna border this. Why? Because it looks good. I like it. Feel it. No. 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 Not at all perfect. In fact, we will be embracing all the imperfections. Okay. There we go. Need a little spritz bottle. get an email?
I didn't.
I just sent it right now. You got it? Oh, are you connected to the internet? Oh, okay. Well, there's a Wi-Fi here that you can connect to. Should we take a quick break before we get to it?
Okay, if you want, we're ready.
Mm-hmm.
And on the schedule, or we use watercolor paper?
Watercolor paper.
I know exactly what you mean. I did that for space there once. No, it's not even some people who put my face. It's so interesting. Does see the color? Yeah, no, my daughter told me mom's really interesting. I can show you. Where's my paint? There it is. Okay. So if you guys haven't put your paint into the case yet, I would suggest to do so. The what? However much you can stick in there. I fill it up maybe about like halfway. I make sure that there's like a good maybe, I don't know, maybe like a centimeter or something. Yeah, sure. So feel free to take a picture. So yeah, we got it on the screen. It's a recording. I have brown, which is this reddish brown, is burnt sienna, and I'm gonna make sure it's spritz pretty good. And we got I mean, you can just kind of see it. So I kind of keep the warms on one side, try to keep the cools on the other side. And I make sure that I have not just one thing of white, I have two things of white. Two types of yellow, a warm yellow and a cool yellow. It never gets dry. Never gets dry.
Really?
It doesn't.
No, not if you keep it in here. Yeah.
I mean, you have to spritz it once in a while if you're somewhere dry. I got a cool red, which is more like a magenta, and then I have like a, this is also pretty cool red. It's like, and then I have like a really hot red over here, and this yellow here. I don't think the order really matters. I just try to keep my dark black far away from all the bright colors over here. I keep all like the bright colors over here because they always get pretty dirty pretty quickly. So I got my brushes. Let me get one more size up. I'm trying to use. I think I'm feeling square brush today. And small and medium square brush. Cool. It's probably like 1/2 inch shader, square brush, 3/4 inch brush, and a calligraphy brush. My favorites. Alright, so today I'm going to have some fun drawing here. I'm going to kind of urge you guys to create some lively lines, you know, whether they be broken or not. So feel free to pull up those pictures of the fish there. Where's my phone? Okay, don't have my phone. Oh, here. Boy, oh boy. Pinterest. Here we go. Cool. Oh my gosh. Come on now. Let's have some fun. Wonderful, there we go. We got it. There we go. I know, I'm just checking to see. This is what you'll see online. So I'm using, get that big brush, at least 3/4 inch, or a calligraphy brush if you have it. But I'm also going to get some smaller square brushes here for like scales and textures, and maybe even the small brush here for this last little bits of details. Got my paint here, and some extra little plates to mix color, or if you have, of course, one of these guys, you'll be using one of these guys for mixing colors. Does anyone need plates to mix? Yeah, I got some extra. Throw them like frisbees. Yep. Anyone else? Okay. Here you go. Here, just take a. Yep. I got 4 there.
Do we do one each or do we do 2 each?
I'm probably gonna end up using 2 myself. These are pretty small. Here you go. And then if you. Started change So when we look at these fish here, kind of break it down in one big shape here, but you can also break these down maybe 3 or 4 like big shapes, maybe like 2. I mean, of course you have the head, which is kind of this. You can see this like curve in the gills, and the head itself, which is kind of this like roundish triangular thing with the lips off to the side. And then you got the big old body following all the way down, and then of course you get the shapes of the fins, and of course you get them laying on top of each other. So I'm going to try to draw this in one continuous line, just because it'll add some flair, make it a little wiggly, make it a little swirly, and possibly even add a few little touches of, I don't know, like details like the eyes and maybe the fins. I'm using 0.08. That's what I always use. But if you use anything else, that's fine too. Just play around. And so I kind of like to think, I want this to be the bottom, this to be the top, this to be the sides, and this to be the other side here. So I think everything will fit in this little container here. And I kind of have to think about that too. I have to think about, okay, this fish here will start and end over here. So it's kind of important to know that these heads are maybe this small versus the whole body here. So you focus on like big shapes first. So you're going to be doing all of the body, and then you can add in the head in there later. So let's get the fins. Huh? Yeah, so I'm just going to kind of find that shape there. And just allow it to be a little imperfect. So I can just kind of draw through it all. See, I kind of like let it go here and there. And now I'm on to my next one, because I know that this is underneath it. And I'm constantly looking at the fish and trying to find some shapes even inside over here. And just gonna have some fun here. Oh yeah. So some of these lines that I did in there, they can kind of define like where maybe those values will change, kind of like what we did with the ovals, or kind of do some of those like little dots or something, or so I'm just doing these kind of broken lines there that I know that area there is going to be much darker up here, and over here that's going to be much darker, these extra lines, because those are really deep dark black. But, you know, play around with the way you did those patterns and hash marks, and or any other kind of patterns or hash marks that you know of, or kind of goof around with. Yeah, I'll throw it onto there. So just gonna have some fun with this drawing. And again, you know, embrace the imperfections. Don't let these be perfect. They're just fish. Nobody knows. And let them have some character, you know? Have some fun with it. We'll get into the nitty-gritty more later on. Oh, what I'm doing. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'd say put it on your phone. Put it on your phone. Right. I had to download it, which isn't too hard, and I downloaded it with like, here, I'll show you. So let's say you're on Pinterest and you have this problem. So here's your image. You hold it down. Oh wait, hold on. I mean the three buttons. Three buttons. Download image. Bam. Go to your images, and then it should be in like your collections or something. And then I can turn my phone, have it like that. Yeah. Once you get it once, then it'll be no problem in the future. Okay. It's through the three buttons, the three dots. It should be like a drop-down menu. Yeah. So
when you do the drawing, do you shade all the dark area first, or you just paint it first?
you can. I'm just gonna kind of minimally do it. Like that area that we did for the ovals, where we did the dots of the crescents there. Basically, all I'm doing is the dots, and I'm leaving this area over here to be left to paint. And so that's what this little area here, that line right there, is defining a region that's going to have shade. So that's kind of what's going on there. Oh, okay. All right. Wonderful. Good. All right. So I'm going to pull up some of this yellow here now. If anyone doesn't have this particular yellow, which is like this very rustic kind of yellow. Now I'm gonna paint more like so you can get a warm yellow and get a little bit of that purple if you needed to, if you didn't have that yellow. So you can just get a little bit of that purple and there you go. You get that same kind of yellow. Yeah, it is yellow ochre. Yeah. So if you don't have the yellow ochre, you just mix the warm yellow with the purple, and it makes a pretty good substitute. But I'm gonna go ahead and kind of get some of this bright color in there. That's kind of underneath some of these scales. Yeah, I'm using a flat brush here. Yeah. And I'm gonna kind of focus on one side here. And I'm just kind of getting some like this like bright kind of underpainting in there. Warms first, always. Just like we did the, ooh, I need paper towels. Alright, so getting some of that warm kind of color in there. Starting things off here. No, you don't have to. You don't have to. If you're feeling like, because it's underneath everything. So I'm gonna be kind of doing it and like elaborating all that warmth that I see first. You could even throw in, well, I don't know about that. I'm just gonna throw in all that kind of warmth in wherever, and I can paint over it with all that cool. That cool will always take over. So if you start off a little warm, I'm just looking at how dark things are, where's some of these things underneath all that cool. This one's got some like lime green going on in the middle. Maybe I'll go for some of this like lemon yellow in this one. Yeah. Okay, looks good. No. But I can get it wet. Kind of let it bleed in some areas there. It's not a bad idea though, you totally can. Yeah, this is more watercolor. I'm gonna get gouache though. Gonna get gouache. Alright. Put this camera down there. Okay. Alrighty. So I'm gonna get going with some here we go. Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna do some
Oh, the canvas. Oh, Sharon, can you move it? Yeah. Sorry, Sharon. Oh, okay. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into the shadows here. That's gonna be kind of this area, like on the belly. Of course, all those contact shadows, just like we were talking about before. So if I get some of this blue here, now this blue is really rich. So I'm gonna get some, ultramarine blue. I'm gonna get some burnt sienna here, which is that brown. And you can kind of mix it in. It's more of that ultramarine blue. And you want to keep the shadows thin, and you'll keep the highlights. Huh? No, I'm using the big brush. Yeah, same one. We don't need details yet. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get in there, and we can use that. See, maybe I'll even get some more of this different blue in there. There we go. There we go. So now I have that second brush here that kind of blends it out. This is all very watercolory right now. So I have this second brush here, and I just kind of blended it. That's just with, this is actually a dry brush, but I just have that thin line, and then using that big brush here, it slowly transfers over to that other brush.
Did you mix anything with the blue?
Yeah, so I had ultramarine blue, and then I also had some of that, some of this like kind of, what's this, like sky turquoise, phthalo blue, or cobalt. I don't know, but it's like this like kind of sky-ish light blue here. Yeah, and I'm just gonna. Yeah, so these three colors I'm using right now, I'm using ultramarine, light blue, turquoise, and burnt sienna. The burnt sienna and that ultramarine blue is going to give you that like nice little gray. And I'm throwing this in there to get that gray to be more of like a brighter blue, because that's kind of what I'm seeing in these fish. Yeah, I mean, there's so many different ways of interpreting the colors that you see here, but all I'm kind of, it's the general rule of starting with like the shadows and like the warmth underneath, warmth, shadows, midtones, and then last but not least, those thick, gloppy, fun highlights. I always like to work thin to thick.
I'm getting like almost like a black.
Uh-huh.
What do I need to add to that?
So that's when I started adding some of the turquoise blue to kind of get some of that blue going in it. Hey, quit. Okay. Okay. So it's really watery here. Yeah. This one is much darker over here. Oh, that's good. So I'm using a little bit of white ultramarine and this bright green here. And I'm going to start working a little more opaquely. And so in order to work in an opaque manner, which is different from watercoloring, you want to keep it thicker. It does dry pretty quickly. So this looks better. I'm going to try to do this in as like few little brush strokes as I can. Yes. These two whites? No, these are the same white. I just know I'm going to use twice as much white. I mean, I try to keep one warm and one cool, but I don't know. Sometimes I lose track and then the cool gets in. But, yeah. I mean, the most important thing here when you're, like, creating this, you're going to love when I say this, is the values. How dark or how light something is. And when you're just, you don't need to worry so much about the right color at all. In fact, if you use completely different colors, that's totally fine. You don't need to try to find the most perfect color in the world. All you gotta do is try to find the right kind of value, meaning how dark or how light something is. So if you painted all of this fish with just yellow and black, it would look good. It would look correct, as long as you kind of get these kind of values going. And like kind of the order that you do things in. You know, start with those like kind of mid-tone shadows and stuff. And
highlights for last, but make sure that you get all three of those, you know. So it's like I'm focusing on like those really dark shadows and stuff. That black, that red. I mean, I'm trying to avoid black by using ultramarine and burnt sienna. So it's good to kind of work darker than you think, and then you can kind of push it to be a bit lighter. So you can see here, there's a lot of shadow in there, wherever they're touching. Might not be the darkest shadow, so maybe I won't make it too dark. In the middle, I'm going to try to keep that white area there. And when I start seeing texture, I can kind of do this tap, tap, tap kind of thing in there. This is the paper right here. So I'm trying to keep those areas with white, but like this should all be white in here. I really got carried away. But so if your paint is coming out too cartoony looking, too bright, be sure to kind of remember when we're looking at the color wheel here, to kind of get more neutral, kind of natural colors, add a little bit of influence coming from the other side here. So
as blue-green turns to red-orange, it gets closer to that neutral gray, which also means that when this neutral gray is next to something very cool, like this blue-green, that neutral gray is going to feel warm because as it's changing, it's getting closer to red-orange. Something cool kind of happens there. So, and then the red-orange next to the neutral gray feels like it's going to be getting cooler because it's on the direction of mixing from one side to the other. So if you're using black and you want things to be darker, it might also make things cooler or warmer depending on what color you're mixing it with. Think about those faces that we did earlier where you put the whole shadow over those faces. Same thing is kind of happening here where you can kind of get that whole shadow over some of these details. Heck, you can even add some things that aren't there in the original picture, like shade, or see here I can kind of get some of these kind of shadowy kind of feelings here that was in our drawings that isn't in the original. That way we can kind of have that context shadow. So maybe it's not hovering, you know? We can take some of that knowledge there and use it for our painting to make it look better. And keep pushing those shadows in there. Now I'm cooking. Okay. So I'm going to do some of these like dark details. And I'm just kind of going to try to capture the impression of, what's it called, the scales. I'm not going to be painting every single scale, but kind of the impression of where some of the scales might be. I'm just using this really deep
dark blue that I got from getting a bit of that burnt sienna in with that ultramarine. And I'm going to keep it pretty dry here. Oh yeah. A great way to kind of check with your drawing, see how it's going, how are those values looking at, is it looking dark enough or not, by squinting your vision or getting rid of all those details in your sight. And you might see that certain things kind of stick out, or yeah. So you can see here when my paint gets really dry here, it creates this really nice texture. Oh yeah, it's good. This only happens with gouache. So use it to its power, because you can kind of leave some these open areas here. Better not. I don't know. I think it's good to look different and have different things going on. Try to get a big glop of this. Yeah, I'm using a bit smaller of a brush now. So again, you kind of start off big and you work your way bigger, way smaller.
So with the watercolor, you want to do the same, like the scale thing, the paper one, the last part, maybe very thick paint.
Right. So if you're using watercolors, I would make sure that you kind of really dance outside of the light areas. So
I'll use the light to show.
yeah. I mean, if you have that gouache, you know, you can just save it for last. So you can use that gouache on top, or there's different ways of getting the light back in, you know, like. But that's why I'm like, just get the white gouache. So watercolor is just use that little cheat. that's what it is. I'm not really gonna dive into what's it called?
Guys,
Yeah.
watch that.
No, the material. Frisket fluid or something. Yeah, liquid frisket. I'm not really gonna get into that. I'm just gonna be gouache. Just use gouache.
What's frisket?
Liquid frisket is basically like liquid rubber.
Oh.
You like draw it on before you start painting. And yeah, that's so that can be used when you first print it down to like kind of like block in these big huge bright areas that, you know, the light's not going to be hitting, or the light's going to be hitting really hard. Yeah. I'm using this dry brush right now just to kind of add some of these cool textures here. So cool.
So it's another easy way to
So let me. Can I see what you're working on? So you're thinking about that. Oh, it's good. Ah, man. I had to step away. Get some of this green in there. Green and blue and white. Oh yes. Put that. So this is green. This is like I don't know. It's like really lime, but you can get that with the lemon yellow and the turquoise. You can get pretty close. But so this is kind of this blue green. So this is right over here. So you can get that through green and blue or yellow and blue. You can kind of just add. Just gonna have more blue in there than the yellow. It's kind of how you can use that color wheel here. So I'm just going to kind of add some squiggles here. Kind of look like a right kind of shade there. Oh yeah. Right on top. Letting some of that bright orange kind of show through. And let's do more white as we get towards the top here. Adding more white where the light is. Alright. So this is something that you can do, guys. You pluck up that white, which is not wet at all, and you just kind of drag it along really lightly. Check this out. This is where magic happens. So only when it's pretty dark can I get this white here, and this watercolor artist can do that too. And drag it along, and maybe I'll kind of drag it and stop, drag it and stop, and kind of tilt and glisten. So this will be where all the highlights are. So I can kind of throw that in there. That lime green, you can use it in here because I have this like kind of turquoise blue green. So if you don't have that's only if you don't have these two colors. This is how I got these. I got these two colors, and I mixed them together with white to get this color. And then I do that last bit of layer with that white here. To capture that highlight in there. Coming along.
by inch, little by little. Huh? Yeah. Okay, so the fish or okay. Alright. So yeah. So it's like it's a really fine balance with water and gouache because it's like if you want to get this kind of cool chalky effect here, you gotta have no water. Basically, it's just pure paint and really lightly place it on top. Because if you place it on top with water, it's gonna pick up what's underneath it. All right, bye. Yeah. So I can kind of get some of this white here. It's, no, it'll have its own like personality for sure. But you just kind of have to allow it to dry a bit before you get that last. See, I see some shine there, like it's still wet. See how it's still wet there? So if I painted over that, it wouldn't really work that kind of sheen. It's just about that layer, you know? Like, you need to have those layers. If you don't have those layers of dark and highlight and all that, it's not peach. This is with, I got a bit of that hot red with this. Yeah, yellow ochre. Yeah, but I mean, there's more than one way to get to it. I mean, this warm yellow here and the hot red would work pretty good too. Maybe even better. Alrighty. Okay, see ya. Well, guys, I think next week, let's see. Okay, so next week. Okay, so the challenge this week. Ooh, buy a fish and draw/paint it with a friend. Then eat it. Yeah. Well, you don't have to go at home, I guess. You could probably go out to a sushi restaurant and paint the fish or something, but I don't know.
Sushi doesn't have a complete fish.
I know. But buy a fish.
I have a bait of fish.
Hey.
Kind of reddish.
There you go. That's the challenge, guys. So
Baited and bring here.
if you're down for the challenge, that's it.
Now how about here?
So next week, we're gonna do some gardens. So we're gonna do some lush, overgrown gardens, different atmospheres, mixing colors and greens. Of course, I'll be using gouache. Same setups as last week. So okay, we always have a watercolor paper. Yeah, we'll probably just be painting next week. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a good day.
Okay, you too. Bye.
Oh, can you put your thing back on?
Yeah.
Emily,
So, if you guys want to, I mean, I haven't quite finished mine, but if you guys have finished yours, I can check yours out. See if I can help you out with anything. Does anyone want me to come around? I know, I'm like, my mind's like mushy with noise. Yeah. Yeah, check it out.
We're poison fish. I'm doing acrylic.
Ooh, okay. Alright. Oh, it's just doing its thing. Alright. I mean, I'd say, pushing it over
They're my regulars. So I haven't seen new students show up. Did they start out like this? I mean, this semester is very different in a good way. I think I like the layout the most in this semester. Oh boy, we got 3 people watching online. Well, I don't know. I think it's just more organized. Thank you. Oh man, it's yeah, no, it's been worse. So. Mm-hmm. Okay. You want me to see it? Okay. Oh. Here, let me take a look. Maybe I can help you. Get any books? Oh no. So glad that lady put me with donuts. I forgot about food, and I was like dying about halfway through class, and that's probably when I got quiet. Huh? I got 2 donut holes. I got 1 donut hole. You want it? Okay. See, huh?
She's Hungarian?
Can you watch myself again?
Sure. Art for sale. I make a few bucks.